Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nick, aka Servant Nick 41, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Nick.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Not bad, man. Just living the dream.
I hear that. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Where did your life begin? Like, where were you born and raised? What was your early life like?
Well, originally I'm from California when I was a kid, but I grew up in Reno, Nevada. I grew up super ghetto Reno, low-income family, food stamps, housing, church food. Normal low-income household, I guess you could say.
And were you getting into trouble and things like that?
As a kid, as a really young kid, I actually did pretty well, with the circumstances of dad. I had no dad. He was gone for most of my life. And then my mom was a drug user and drinker and partier. So she wasn't, really around as much either. But I did pretty good elementary school, middle school. And then I ended up dropping out of school freshman year of high school. And that's where I wasn't getting caught for anything, but that's where all the alcohol, dealing, all stuff started after I dropped out of high school freshman year.
Hanging out with the wrong people, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was a daily drinker at 14. That's all we did. Drink and skate, never go to school.
So what was your first experience with the police?
I had a couple of traffic violations. Back then at that time, if you had like a traffic ticket that you didn't pay, you could get a warrant, then end up going to jail and serve the time a couple of days, a week here and there. I did that a couple of times. It wasn't until my dad came into my life when I was like 17 finally, and he ends up committing when I was right for my 21st birthday. And at that time, I was already way messed up on dealing, stealing to feed the habit. And so about a year after my dad died, almost exactly, I actually got arrested on identity theft stuff, credit card fraud, check fraud. And I mean, that's just the things I got caught with. I was doing a whole lot more than that.
What type of stuff were you doing to get those types of charges?
Oh, man. Well, without completely incriminating myself, I mean,
you already went to jail for it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that is true. Well, I actually got caught because at the time, they were giving out credit card checks based off credit card accounts, not checks based off checking accounts. So these checks were like big dollar checks that I was able to come up on. And so I was going around and ordering things with these big high number checks at Walmart, Best Buys, places like that. And when they actually caught me, it was actually for the lowest of the things I was doing. I was, when you're in that lifestyle, your mind's not functioning at the level that it is capable of. So I was super sold on getting this phone this one night from a Smith's. And I wanted this when like Androids were really starting to get big. I wanted this Android. It was $100 phone, I think. And I was in there I wrote one check multiple times, and it kept like he would run it through, and then there was something wrong. So this check was actually butchered. I ended up signing my name on someone else's name, not my full name, but like the wrong name on the check. The amount I had to cross out and write another amount because I only had a couple of the checks, and the first one was done. So this one, I crossed the number out, wrote a different amount on top. He ends up running it through because the guy was new. I leave, and the next day I'm trying to get the phone activated, and that night it wouldn't work. And the next day it wouldn't work. Now I'm like, okay, I want my money back.
I want my stolen money back.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, man. I wasn't functioning correctly. So I go back. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get the money. I'm going to make this phone's going to work. And I go back to get the phone activated. And they're like, oh, yeah, we can help you with that. Hold on one sec. I'm waiting. I'm like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. And I'm like, you know what? And they're like, you know what? They walked out. Robert, I was about to leave. They walked out. Oh, we can't do it right now. You're going to have to come back tomorrow. They set me up, bro. They were holding me there the whole time and walk out to a bunch of cops.
That's what they do.
Yeah, they knew. And they end up, and I was actually on my way to go to Best Buy to pick up like a multiple $1,000 order. They took like a week to get cleared. So that was probably a setup as well, because normally it didn't take that long. So I think I got caught on the lower setup, and the bigger one I didn't then they'll just catch me with the cards for everything.
So you go to jail, right? They bring you right
Yeah,
to jail.
yeah.
And how long do you stay in there? What's your experience like when you go to jail?
So at this time, I was actually on. I was on. I was on, and I was on. So you go into jail, and then coming off is your body gets physically addicted. Like that's a serious thing. That takes about a week though. Coming off is a whole nother story. And I'm only 21 years old, and I'm in there. Oh, man, I've never been so sick in my whole life, and I actually got in like $100 worth. I snuck in with me. I didn't get caught with it. So I remember my first cellie in there. He was like trying to hang out and talk, and I'm like, dude, I don't feel good, man. I'm not trying to talk about nothing here. Just do some of this and leave me alone. So I'm feeding him, and I'm just like, leave me alone. So I don't know, he's doing all night. He's up all night, and I'm just trying to sleep. Got the first couple days knocked out. I was actually only in there for it's my first real sentence, first real case. So I was in there for 30 days. I go to court, and they're like, okay, we're gonna put you on court. We're gonna give you an opportunity to make this right, get your life together. You're young. We don't want to send you to prison. And so I'm like, cool. This is great. So really, I thought that court was a possibility, but court ended up being the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life. It was bad.
What, trying to make you jump through these different hoops, right?
Yeah, Joel, growing up in the lifestyle I grew up on, like I knew prison was in my future. My mom's boyfriends would go to prison, come home and they would get out of county jail with a bag full of commissary, and we'd be at the house making spreads when I was in like sixth grade. So I was like, this is tight. Cut up the beef jerky sticks, and I'm like, this is cool. I knew this was my future, and dealing, and I knew prison was on its way. I grew up thinking that is like something you could do it all the time. My mom was doing it, my family was doing it, so like I never really thought of quitting. And so now, or never really thought I was capable of quitting, I should say. So now they're like, you're gonna quit, and if you don't quit, these are the repercussions every single time. And I mean, before I even got sentenced, I had already failed a drug test, and so I had to go do a couple days in jail there, and then I do good for a couple months, and then I'm right back. And so I did multiple weekend stays, because if you fail a test or miss a test, you do weekend stay. I did rehab for like 47 days. I did prison boot camp, which is a 6-month program. I did transitional living. I did house arrest. I mean, I jumped through every single hoop that they had until the end of it was prison.
Did you want to quit?
So, there was that battle, that looking at it in hindsight now and understanding what I understand now about the spiritual realm and Satan and how he's, First Peter 5:8 says that your adversary, the devil, is roaming around like a roaring lion, seeing whom he can devour. So Satan's out there, and the demons are out there, and they're constantly trying to keep you down and suppress you and keep you from, getting to your true potential. So there was that desire to quit, but it was like you try to quit, and then you're hit with 1,000 more temptations every time, and it just constantly gets worse and worse and worse. And then there's this verse in the Bible, and it says basically like if you clear out one demon from your body, then 7 more come back. And so that is valid. That is a valid thing. When every time I would try to quit or would quit, the next time I come back, I was worse. I was willing to do worse things or to gain money, and then I'd quit, and then I'd come back, and now willing to do more to gain money. So every time I'd come back, it's like there's more and more demons that were like, I was willing to go further and further and further to get the money I needed for this.
Yeah, you finally get off, and then someone's like, "Hey, you want to do this?" And it's
For
free,
free.
right in your face, and you're like, "I do, but I mean,
I don't, but I do. Yeah, that's the devil, man. He's just like, no, you're not going nowhere. Here's free drugs. Here you go. And then it's, you're right back. I mean, to be honest, I think that I always had a little desire to know what normalcy was in life and to see, what am I possibly capable of. But having started using so young, it was like, this was it. I mean, at the age of 19, I tried to commit suicide. I got some money, burnt somebody for $40, went to a casino, picked up the and went to the casino and shot it all up in an attempt to when I lived. So I was already at this point done. I was fed up with it, man. Like if this is my life and this is what my future is going to be, then this was really no life to live at all.
you're just like living on the edge. Like any day could be your last, right?"
Any day could be my last, man. It was it was bad.
See, the difference between me back then and me now is I can think about it, I can have temptations, and I won't do it.
Yeah.
Like I can get through those situations.
Yeah,
It
that's
took a
how it is.
long time
That's
to
how
get
it is.
through.
I don't want to jump too far ahead, but as we go,
Yeah.
I'll explain more and more. Go ahead.
You go to jail for this time, and what happens next? Where does your life go?
Okay, so I do all those. I jumped through all those hoops. Now I got kicked off house arrest. I'm in transitional living. I go back to jail, and they're like, "Dude, listen, this is it. This is your shot. This is your last shot. Transitional living." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I go to transitional living. I worked a graveyard. I didn't lose my job, and I was only in jail for 2 weeks on that transition right there. They're like, so I go and I'm instantly out all night, and I'm already at my connect's house chilling, not getting. And I'm like, that didn't last long. So I get and I failed the test, and I go to the house manager, man, and he'd been to prison, covered in tattoos from California, and I can't remember his name, but I actually go to him and I'm like, listen, dude, you know what this I don't want to go to prison. Like, I'm really not trying to do that. I would like to get my life together. I honestly just don't know how. Like, I don't know what that is and what that's like. I've never seen that in my growing up in my childhood, in my life. It was always use. And if it relapse is part of recovery, and if you're getting better and you relapse, it's okay. Like, I just don't know what to do, man. Can you help me? And for the very first time ever, I asked for help. And he's like, yeah, man. It was that nighttime. He's like, I know you got to go to work. I'm gonna figure this out with the higher ups. He was a house manager. I'm gonna figure this out with the higher ups. When you come back, I promise you, I'm gonna have this all figured out. I'm like, cool, man. So I go to work and I come back thinking we're gonna make this happen.